Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. We've got the never ending story of a man that's gone to the dogs. Why is that? Some cartoon when I was a kid. Judges Guild makes a statement about the Goodman Games controversy. It is long, it is political. I couldn't read it on the Facebook page of Judges Guild because I am blocked. Thank you very much. However, people did send me copies of the article, and then N World Morris. I give Morris credit when Morris does well. He does well. So when I read it, I had the same questions that uh, Morris came up with. So the update, which we will get into afterwards, but when I read it, keep these things in mind. Joseph Goodman originally asked to make the State the Invincible Overlord in 2010. That's according to the update we're going to be talking about. But it was not until 2022, again, according to Bob Jr., 2 years after the 2020 social media meltdown, which caused Goodman to cut ties with Judges Guild, that State of the Image of Overlord, according to Jr., was approved by Judges Guild. Something in the timeline doesn't seem to work so well. Goodman Games, according to the update, will be producing 5 years of the Dungeoneer fanzine. Judges Guild has plans for a range of products over the coming years. The charitable donations on sales of Judges Guild products on Goodman Games' website being made after the 2020, they say outburst, I'll say social media meltdown, were ended in 2022 because Judges Guild and Goodman Games agreed it was time for the guild to make some cash. And this is what Bob is stating. Now, Morris goes on, this information, if true, stands in contradiction to Goodman Games' own statements. In February 2020, Goodman Games has stopped, that's what their statement was, has stopped selling our previous Judges Guild products through all distribution channels. Fair enough. Judges Guild will no longer receive income from Goodman Games products now that sales of their titles have ceased. But there's still some titles up on the Goodman Games website. We have one remaining product to release, which is a collector's edition focused on the works of Janelle Jacques. Not quite true. They had more. But okay. After this final volume, you have no plans to release further Judges Guild titles. So, now here's this wall of text, and I'm going to link the Emerald article for you all. But this wall of text might be. I might need to leave that wall of text up there, and then somebody was nice enough to send me a text file, which I should be able to properly read. Let me see. Oh, that's just the. Let's see. Should be here. Here we go. Mushugana. Sorry, folks. Best laid plans of mice and men. I was out all day today. So, what do we got? Hello, friends and guild family. As the Guild's 50th anniversary approaches, I wish to let you all know about plans we have for the coming few years. Some are through licensees and some through our own internal processes. We have good things in the works for 2026 and beyond. Apparently not 2025. Let me remind you all that I am no liar. This is Bob Jr. speaking. Keep that in mind. I have always been honest with others in this industry, and my record will show my candor, generosity, and goodwill toward all. This is verbatim, okay? Like my father, I encourage other game publishers, welcome joint ventures, and leave politics out of my business life. Sorry, I got something caught in my throat. I consider that a part of being an American. I do not expect others to conform to my way of thinking. But the weaponization of politics to harm people or the competition in our industry is becoming more and more common. I find it hypercritical that persons who would cancel or effect a boycott against an individual would themselves support laws that would criminalize the boycott of certain countries. But there you have it. Laws for thee, none for me. It will ruin our industry as it has others. Dave Arneson foresaw all this, and we spoke in 2008 of what would happen as more. This is verbatim, folks. Don't get mad at the. I'm not even the messenger, but I am conveying it. What will happen is more liberal Johnny come latelys pushed into our industry. Regardless of what the woke may wish, it was an industry created largely by white Christian strategists, most very active in their respective churches. Sadly, the current trends would attack or change the achievements of others, burn an industry down rather than create their own. It is always easier to destroy something than it is to create it. I created the company logo at age 13, but only with my father's instigation. But I challenge you to find a more badass company logo anywhere in the world. Dave believed that once the game industry made more money than the movie industry, it hasn't, by the way. Let me preface this with my own comment. The game industry is a trickle of piss into a very large body of water when it comes to movie industry, game industry. But Dave believed that once the game industry made more money than the movie industry, they would come in a wave like it was the California gold rush, producing small private game companies, likely producing a lot of bad games and move them through their own small game stores while touting them through media outlets. He said it would be no different than the way they pushed poor films through their own small theaters for decades. They would flood the market with so many distractions that honest publishers would not stand a chance against their profit margins. And as for the big players, they do not care about what we created. They are fine with destroying it. I am speechless, but maybe not. Dave knew that what Gygax had done was all sold, and he advised me to never allow the Wilderlands or the Guild IP as a whole to be sold away to the heartless beast, as he called it. Hmm. He understood that the Guild represented what was left at the heart of it all. It created the game module, it created the stand up, it proved the market to TSR. I thought it created hex maps. Oh, I guess he gave up on that one. But 50 years later, TSR is no more, and the industry pioneers are dying away from us. And D&D suffered a dismal 50th, due largely to leftist posturing and to everyone wishing for more of this or less of that. The founders were all good men, family men, and people who understood humor without pearl clutching. Yet we work to include everyone at our game table, even today. We are not out to promote a way of thinking or an agenda. We try to make good products at a fair price. But the guild must compete against publishers who use cheap Chinese labor houses. Once Joseph Goodman came to me, having found paper like our original maps had been printed on. But I said no to it because the paper came from China. He knows what people want, so I trust he will always make top-notch products. He just could not find it in America. That is not always easy here. By the way, folks, I'm only like halfway through this shit, maybe. That is not always easy here. Our policy from the beginning was to produce all American products, and we always have. We were literally founded on July 4th, 1976, on the nation's bicentennial. I remember the day well and watched the fireworks over the lake from Bill Owen's hilltop home. Joseph Goodman recently commented on how much he loved my father's work, and I do not doubt that sincerity. But it set wrong with me. Maybe it was my age talking, but I was there. It was my work also, from the company logo to the first map, the tack cards on. It was my work also. Many of the covers, much of the layout. I was a part of the Guild family, and that includes everyone working with us. We were whites, blacks, Muslims, Jews, gays, Catholics, Native Americans, South Africans, city intellectuals, and country farmers, all working under the Guild banner in house, and in all those years, never an argument over politics or religion. That is America. A mutual respect for diversity. Not at all what overshadows our industry today. And I see all that for what it is, a self righteous power grab. I have to take a breath, folks. Give me a second. Nevertheless, we work on, and the Overlord is invincible, as it is currently planned with Goodman Games' City State of the Invincible Overlord, our flagship, will see revision in 5th edition and Dungeon Crawl Classics. Now the Goodman folks jumped ahead of us. We were to have a planned rollout in July of this year. Time out. Time out. The City State of the Invincible Overlord Kickstarter is over a decade late, but they were going to roll it out in July. So backers were going to get their stuff in July. Is that what we're hearing? Okay. I'm just saying. I'm asking questions. The Guild version in Bob Bledsoe's Judges Guild Universal format will include materials Bob wrote but has never been used. The page count has doubled and will likely come in 2 volumes. We know this will make for a great product because the same process of applying Bob's draft content to the Thieves of Madagascar resulted in many great reviews and happy letters. It is true that Joseph Goodman has long wished to do CSIO and asked about it as far back as 2010. This is where the timelines, it's almost like I feel like we're in that Marvel universe with all these little branches going off. But I was always opposed to that as D&D was becoming more magic heavy with each new rule set, and my father's original Wilderlands was Magic Light. I did not think it was a good fit, but in 2022, after having seen the successes of his DCC system and always assuming that our own version would come, I agreed because it would allow a whole new generation to see the city state with the lenses of their choosing. He told me it was bound to be grand, shipped internationally, and for the first time printed in 5 languages. That is great guns. Joseph has a great team, and he will always be considered a dear friend. Now, back in 2020, I had no problem with giving all the guild's royalties to the ADL, as it seemed the right thing to do after my irrational posts. But we agreed it was time for the guild to make some cash, and so it was set down in 2022. But I allowed Joseph to pick his own timing because he had more important projects after having acquired Dark Towers and Caverns of Thracia. I assumed Janelle Jaquez would be working with Goodman over the next several years, so I provided her with copies of her many guild letters from our files to help stir some creativity. I also hope to gain her help on another project I will mention later, after having given her the freedom to produce a revision of Night of the Walking Way. Sadly, Janelle passed away, and it made me all the more glad for that hug at our last parting. I always respected the talented artist she was. Also, speaking of unpublished material, our Imperial Pegasus magazine will see revival as a periodical, but with a likely format change. It will certainly not be a 94-page monster, but will allow us to produce all manner of content, crawls, Wilderlands expansions, sci-fi material, industry comment and review, as planned. As planned. Again, I feel like we've got some branching of reality going on here, or the history. Goodman Games will produce 5 years of Dungeoneer, whereupon Judges Guild will take over production of the classic fanzine. And this will allow us to use all the Janelle Jacques material and art that was unpublished. You may wait a little bit longer than that, but the Jacques influence will live on in the coming Dungeoneers, her original dream. As a fellow artist, I think it is fitting that those works see use in this way. I still have some of her original paintings that would make lovely prints or future covers. Other products that are here being readied for release before our anniversary. It's a list. Hold on to your seats, folks. Village Books 1 and 2, Book of Rumors 1, Amulets and Talismans, Island Book 2, Wash Bears of the Wilderlands. I am not mispronouncing Wash Bears of the Wilderlands. It's what's down here. Citadel of the Lion, and a first ever fantasy novel set in the Wilderlands. The Book of Rumors will be a series, provides detailed lore for each of the Wilderlands map areas. Island Book 2 will host islands less Mediterranean but with a coral sea flavor. My fiancé of 3 years, her father, a provincial healer of Bukidnon, has provided each rare folklore from the islands of the Philippines, translated from Bisayan and Montagnard languages. And although the 2014 maps cannot be completed, I do believe that Rob Conley submitted all the maps, updated, but I think they have them. I think they were completed. A friend from my college years has just this month found us very similar paper, made in America, that will be test printed in the coming days. Over the coming months of 2025, we hope to make use of our YouTube channel and provide more support for our product line in the form of free downloads. I hope news brings many smiles. We are happy to be working with good hearted partners, and we do thank you for supporting us all. Sincerely, Bob Bledsaw II. Well, I'm exhausted after reading that. Yeah, there's like a little twisting of the timelines here. I'd like to get answers. I believe that yep, Morris did. He goes, I did reach out to Goodman Games, but was just referred to their public statements on the subject. I think we may need a little bit more just to clear it up. The waters are muddied, folks. The waters are muddied. My head hurts. My head hurts. All right, folks. On that note, if you made it this far, God bless. Subscribe. Consider becoming a member. Like, comment, take a breath. All right, folks. God bless. Be good.